Welcome to the Recreation Nova Scotia Board of Directors video training series. This training series is made possible by a grant from the Nova Scotia Voluntary Sector Professional Capacity Trust. And this video is on Board Member Code of Conduct. We've talked about key responsibilities, key roles of the board before, but we haven't talked about how we should behave, and that's what this video is about. For many organizations, this is a critical problem. Board members are frustrated, productivity is low, and it's because of how we treat each other and how we behave at meetings, or in between meetings even. Try this. Take a blank sheet of paper. Write down 5 things that drove you crazy between your last board meeting and the time following the board meeting up to this video. I bet you it wasn't hard to write down 5 things. We need to have conversations as a board before situations occur to define what we expect behaviors to be. Here are some typical things that you'll find in a code of conduct, and you will find several samples attached to this video on the website. As a board member, you're expected to support the organization in public. When you're out in the community, you're expected to speak well of the organization, speak well of its activities. You're expected to come to meetings prepared and to participate, to have read the materials required, to have submitted the reports that you said you would submit. We've talked about conflict of interest and your need to make sure that the best interests of the organization are always at the front of your decision making. You need to speak with one voice. There is no room for after the board meeting 2 board members saying, well, this is what we did, this is what we did, and somebody else saying that, well, that was stupid, or they didn't support that. After the board meeting, the only response from every board member should be, this is what the board decided. Now, that doesn't mean you can't express your views in the board meeting. You can't express other opinions or other ideas. You can even vote no against the proposal. You can have that minuted in the meeting if you like. But outside the room, you need to say to people, this is what the board decided. If you agree to do something, you need to do it. And more importantly, if you can't do it, you need to tell people. Imagine a small community group doing a Christmas fundraiser, and the items that you were selling show up on January the 4th, all because the person running it was afraid to say they were behind. You need to be an organization where it's safe to say, I'm behind, I need help. Confidentiality is important. Things that you talk about at that board table, things that people see, things that people read, many of them are for your eyes to look at and not to be shared with your neighbors. So confidentiality is important. You need to be respectful of those things and may well need code of conduct to tell people how to treat that. It may be valuable to take your code of conduct and include it in your orientation so that a new board member can go through the expectations of them. They can sign it, acknowledging that they understand and that they agree to abide by the stipulations in it. There may be more issues, though, too, that you need to think about, and you may find this chart helpful. What's the situation or circumstance that frustrates you? How do you want us to behave? And what do we want to do when we slip up? And here are some ones that come up fairly often when we talk to boards about code of conduct. People talking over each other or maybe talking on their cell phone. People not understanding what somebody said before going into their points. Going off on tangents. Reviewing past discussions. Maybe having a bathroom or a bar meeting where we say one thing in the meeting and after we've been to the bathroom with a couple people we come back and the decision's been changed. So let's use one of those examples. Tangents. If your group goes off on a lot of tangents, what do we want to happen? We want the discussion to stay focused on the item in front of us. And what do we want to happen if we slip up? Maybe we tell everybody, if you see that we're off on a tangent, scream out tangent. Now you have a code of conduct that says we don't want that to happen and here's what we should do if the situation occurs. One final thought. If you're not prepared to call on unexpected behavior and to say, excuse me, that's not how we agreed to do that, then don't waste your time with a code of conduct. But remember, without this, without respect for each other, the high-performance volunteer will be frustrated, And those who are your key supports will probably at some point say, I've had enough. And they will move on to other organizations and other activities. And we can't afford to lose any volunteers right now.